In the most dramatic intervention that modern Britain has ever seen, Prince William recently broke with 70 years of royal convention to protect his father. The Prime Minister was utterly silent after hearing what he had to say about Keir Starmer, and what transpired next might lead to the largest constitutional crisis since Edward VII's abdication. Prince William entered Westminster Abbey for what should have been a standard ceremonial appearance less than an hour ago. However, nothing about what transpired was ordinary. William uttered 12 terrible words that completely altered the situation instead of the prepared smiles and courteous handshakes that everyone anticipated. No politician needs to defend my father's wisdom and commitment to this country. There was a deafening silence after that. Standing only a few meters away, Keir Starmer appeared to have been hit. The color left his face. Beside him, cabinet ministers moved uneasily, not sure where to gaze. Click the subscribe button immediately if you want to follow the outcome of this constitutional struggle, as it has the potential to permanently alter British politics. This is what led to this violent altercation. A coordinated operation to destabilize King Charles was being carried out by Starmer's closest circle, according to stolen WhatsApp chats 3 days ago. Senior Conservative sources were able to get messages that revealed Labour strategists intended to portray the king as politically biased, out of touch, and a danger to contemporary democracy. One particularly incriminating message came from a Downing Street assistant. Charles must be shown as an elderly, meddling, and unelected villain. He must be viewed by the public as the issue rather than us. The plan was evident: to preserve Labour's sinking polls, ruin the king's reputation. However, there is more to this tale that heightens its ominousness. Labour's strategy unit had been preparing for this assault on the monarchy for months, according to documents released to the Telegraph. The budget for this operation was more than $300,000 of taxpayer funds, and they had recruited American political consultants, the same companies that worked on aggressive campaigns in the United States, to create messages that would undermine popular support for the Queen. Contemplate it. Starmer's administration was using your money to undermine the king, while British families struggled with food and utility expenses. Prince William, though, would not have it. The Prince of Wales, who is often strict about avoiding political conflict, took an unexpected move, according to palace insiders. He would defy royal custom. Standing in front of the whole political establishment in Westminster Abbey, he would make his statement in the most visible manner possible. According to people close to William, he worked with senior advisors and constitutional experts for 2 full days to formulate his response. According to a family acquaintance who spoke on condition of anonymity, Princess Catherine was his biggest supporter and told him, "Your father needs you. Britain needs. If not now, then when?" This exchange demonstrates the depth of feeling underlying William's choice. It wasn't a hasty decision. This was deadly, deliberate, and intentional. His precise comments were stunning in their power, but unnerving in their reserve. The crown has been serving this country with honor, discernment, and steadfast devotion for ages. My father has dedicated his entire life to the British people, our towns, our environment, and everything that makes our country so wonderful. No politician needs to defend his judgment or commitment to this country. The final word, politician, was emphasized so loudly that it pierced like a sword through the abbey. Everybody knew what the goal was. Everyone understood who William was referring to. It was a devastating and quick response. Social media exploded in a matter of minutes. In less than 20 minutes, the hashtag Defend the Crown shot to the top of the global rankings on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Before Star's staff could even prepare a rebuttal, video clips of William's statement received millions of views. However, this is the point at which the Prime Minister's image became utterly disastrous. Cameras recorded Starmer's response as William talked. The guy who had so viciously assailed the monarchy a few days prior now stood still, stunned, and transfixed, like a schoolboy caught red-handed by the principal. He was neither rebellious nor angry. Starmer's hands quivering slightly, his repeated swallowing, and what one expert described as classic indicators of someone undergoing intense public humiliation were all recognized by body language experts who examined the video. Even Labour fans began to doubt their leader due to the sharp and striking visual contrast. Within hours after posting a video, Margaret Davies, a 64-year-old retired nurse from Cardiff who has always supported Labour, went viral. Through thick and thin, I have stood with Labour. However, Keir's inability to speak while a prince stands up for his father is a sign of weakness rather than power. It's a shame. Currently, her video has received over 800,000 shares and counting. In the meantime, Labour is routinely abandoning the same people it says it supports. Tonight, British veterans, men and women who bravely and honorably served their country, are sleeping on the streets of London. Last week, a 71-year-old veteran of Falklands named Michael Patterson was discovered hiding beneath Waterloo Bridge in the bitter cold. After 40 years of service to the Crown, his pension hardly pays for his prescription drugs. He said to reporters, "I fought for this country. as tears streamed down his wrinkled face. Michael's experience is painfully typical. I watched my friends die for this country, and now I can't even afford a roof over my head. More than 6,000 ex-service members are homeless in Britain, according to statistics just released by Veterans UK. There is nowhere for the 6,000 heroes. Downing Street spent £1.2 million last month on media strategists and diversity experts as Michael sleeps under bridges. We're talking about champagne receptions for labor donations, executive salaries, and opulent hotels for government advisors. $38,000 was spent on strategic communications training for junior ministers, essentially instructing them how to avoid answering questions honestly, according to one especially glaring spending disclosed in government accounts. Even traditional labor newspapers are criticizing the contrast because it is so repugnant and immoral. Yesterday's headline on the front page of the Daily Mirror, which has historically been Labor's biggest backer, said it all. As Starmer schemes to overthrow the monarch, veterans freeze. It's not a conservative viewpoint. That is the disgust of Labor's own followers turning against them. Then an amazing event occurred that no one had anticipated. The king, Charles himself, said anything. Not with rage or political drama, but with something much more potent, dignity, and historical significance. According to reports, the king spoke to a group of Commonwealth leaders last night at a special luncheon at Buckingham Palace with remarks that would be studied for decades. The monarchy stays out of political conflicts. His Majesty spoke quietly and forcefully. We assist. No, we don't rule. However, we also do not give up on the values that have maintained this country's stability during centuries of hardship. Charles's involvement is even more important when you consider the entire backdrop of that evening. The Prime Ministers of Australia and New Zealand, the Governor-General of Canada, and officials from 15 other Commonwealth countries were in attendance. Charles was delivering a message that went much beyond the boundaries of Britain by expressly addressing them. He was reminding everyone that the crown stands for something greater than any one administration or politician. According to palace insiders, the terms were deliberately selected, examined by constitutional attorneys, and intended to convey several ideas at once. You've gone too far, Starmer. I am in favor of William's involvement. While politicians fear, the British people perceive the monarchy as unwavering. For Labour, the optics are completely disastrous. This is a king who has every right to use his significant power to retaliate, but he chooses to take the high road instead. And there's a prime minister who launched the first and most intense attack, but who now appears small-minded, spiteful, and totally outclassed. But hold on. There's more to this that makes Labour's situation much more unstable. Senior members of the House of Lords are developing what one peer called a nuclear option behind closed doors. A crossbench peer with 40 years of experience in constitutional law, Lord Harrington has been discreetly conferring with legal experts over the possibility of the upper house formally censuring a prime minister in office for disparaging the monarchy. Since 1783, this has not been done. Starmer's position would be totally untenable if the Lords move forward, which would be a constitutional earthquake. Starmer has pushed Britain into unfamiliar territory, as evidenced by the fact that top legal minds are even debating this alternative. What makes this even more explosive is as follows. In private, 3 senior Labour colleagues have said they would back the proposal. That's the willingness of members of Starr's own Lord's party to publicly chastise him. Nobody could have predicted the depth of the fractures. It has been an incredible and unrelenting domino effect. As foreign investors were concerned about the political stability of Britain, the pound sterling fell 1.4% in morning trading. In just a few hours, billions of dollars were removed from savings and pension funds. The atmosphere in London, according to currency dealers, was one of panic. According to a senior trader who spoke to Bloomberg, constitutional instability is the one thing markets absolutely cannot price. Everything becomes uncertain if Britain's fundamental institutions are in doubt. Already plummeting, Labour's polling numbers reached a new all-time low. Conservative support is up to 38%, Reform UK is up to 26%, and Labour is down to just 23%, according to the most recent YouGov poll. The governing party is in third place for the first time in contemporary British history. Third, consider that. Even worse news for Starr comes from more thorough polls. Support for Labour has fallen to only 17% among voters over 50, the party's traditional base. Labour is currently 20 points behind Reform UK in the Midlands and Northern England, areas they need to win in order to take power. Internal Labour polling, which is far more devastating, indicates that they are expected to lose more than 150 seats in today's general election. The poorest electoral performance since 1935 would be that. Tens of thousands of people participated in protests that broke out in Birmingham, Glasgow, Manchester, and London. These aren't formal political gatherings. These are unplanned outbursts of rage from common Britons who believe their customs and principles are being threatened. Yesterday, demonstrators in Leeds carried a huge banner that read, "Respect our King Saxstar," and covered a full city block. #Starmer garnered over 4 million tweets during its 18-hour global craze. International comments have been harsh, and senior Labour MPs are already publicly questioning whether Starmer can last till Christmas. The British royal family's dignity and dedication were praised in a statement made by the Canadian Prime Minister's office, which clearly chastised Starr without mentioning him by name. Opposition politicians in Australia denounced the situation as shameful and cautioned that undermining constitutional monarchy jeopardizes Commonwealth unity. Even American news networks, which often disregard British politics, devoted primetime pieces to Labour's stunning self-destruction, as CNN described it. The environment within 10 Downing Street has devolved into total disarray and suspicion. In the corridors, ministers are yelling at one another, meetings for emergencies are called, then cancelled. To protect their own careers, advisors are turning on one another. It makes sense that Shadow Chancellor Rachel Reeves would be upset, as she was reportedly heard yelling at Starmer's senior strategist, "You've destroyed us. You've destroyed everything we built." Reeves had been courting business leaders, promising stability, and meticulously establishing Labour's economic reputation for months. Starr's error in judgment has caused all of that effort to vanish in just 72 hours. WhatsApp groups that began as strategic talks have evolved into full-fledged scheming meetings, according to government sources. More than 30 Labour MPs are actively debating leadership succession plans in a group that bears the sinister moniker of K-leaked messages. From the group reveal MPs weighing prospective candidates, debating whether to remove Starr before or after the May municipal elections, and considering timing. Another organization, Damage Limitation, is solely concerned with surviving the upcoming election, whether or not Starmer is in charge. A senior backbench MP issued a note to the group that says, "We're facing extinction. The question is not whether they will continue to oppose him, but rather whether we take action now or we're done for a generation." When is it? The top civil servant in Britain, Cabinet Secretary Simon Cassiese, appeared visibly upset as he left Downing Street Wednesday evening. According to people close to Case, he served through Brexit, COVID, and Boris Johnson's scandals and has never witnessed a government in such chaos. According to insiders, this is worse than the sum of them all. According to reports, Case has prepared private briefings for the monarch on possible outcomes, such as early elections, minority governance, and even the chance for a national unity administration in the event that Labour totally fails. This is the portion, though, that might put an end to Starmer's career. Something utterly disastrous is revealed by leaked internal Labour polling that was received by senior Conservative sources and distributed to many news sites. 79% of respondents stated they did not trust Starr to uphold British customs and institutions. Just 38% of Labour voters say they have faith in his judgment. If these figures are correct and other independent surveys reveal such patterns, Starmer has lost legitimacy, which is essential for any politician to thrive. Consider what that implies. If the public do not trust a prime minister to uphold the core principles of the country, he will not be able to rule. If foreign leaders perceive him as unstable, he is unable to negotiate deals. If his own party is scheming to remove him, he cannot keep the peace. If he assaults cherished institutions while veterans sleep on the streets, he cannot claim moral authority. That would have disastrous visual effects. Well, forget about it. Since it's happening in real time right now, the optics are already terrible. Prince William, meanwhile, is not done. William has been holding private discussions with Conservative leadership, Reform UK leader Nigel Farage, and even moderate Labour MPs who are appalled by Starr's strategies, according to sources very close to Kensington Palace. Palace sources are adamant that the discussions are not about politics. They aim to preserve the stability of the Constitution, but there's no mistaking the message. In addition to forming connections and getting ready for whatever comes next, the heir apparent is making it very evident that the royal family will not be intimidated or disregarded. Sources attending these discussions revealed one really intriguing detail. It is said that William began every conversation in the same manner. "I am not a political figure here. I'm here because I love this nation and I want to make sure we don't destroy ourselves." According to reports, that framing has been very successful because it quietly portrays Starmer as the splitter while placing William on the side of national unity. Yesterday, Farage himself spoke in public with the composed assurance of a guy who understands that history is on his side. Reform UK will always stand up for our king and traditions when others attack them. We stand for the principles that made Britain great, while career politicians plan and panic. It's working incredibly well. No rage, no ridicule, just unwavering patriotism. In just 72 hours, Reform UK's membership has increased by another 250%. The party is receiving more donations than it can handle. In order to manage the rush of new volunteers and supporters, the party headquarters in Westminster had to hire 12 more employees. Reform is more than a protest movement for the first time in British political history. They are a real alternative government in the making. The next 72 hours might be explosive and extremely crucial. Tomorrow morning, Parliament will return from recess. With his party in open rebellion and his power destroyed, Starmer must answer inquiries from the Prime Minister. According to insiders, Rishi Sunak, the head of the Conservative Party, is planning the most catastrophic parliamentary assault in contemporary history. According to sources, Sunak's staff has been working non-stop to compile all the evidence, contradicting statements and leaked messages that demonstrate Labour's campaign against the monarchy was well planned. The goal is to provide so much proof that even favourable media outlets will be unable to defend Starmer. Reform UK is requesting an urgent vote of no in the meantime, a level of confidence that might lead to a general election months early. Experts on constitutional law are cautioning that Britain is venturing into unknown terrain. We're seeing a confrontation between elected power and constitutional tradition, unlike anything since the English Civil War, Cambridge University professor David Langford told the BBC yesterday. There is no way out of this constitutional crisis, which Britain is witnessing in real time through screens, newspapers, and dinner table conversations from Cornwall to Scotland. Families are split, friendships are put to the test, and if Starmer continues, he runs the risk of permanently shattering the country. The country isn't just politically divided anymore, it's challenging the fundamentals of British identity, and at its center is a Prime Minister who appears more and more alone, desperate, and out of his element. This is the crucial question that needs to be answered. Did Karma just commit political suicide by attacking the monarchy, or will he somehow survive this disastrous miscalculation? Can Prince William's intervention actually force a change in government? And is Nigel Farage going to be the next Prime Minister of... What do you think will happen in Britain? Will the king use long-forgotten constitutional powers that haven't been used in centuries? Will Labour replace Starmer before Christmas? Or will this whole crisis turn into something much worse? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. We read them all, and we value your opinions. The mainstream media won't give you the whole picture, but we will, because the British people deserve the truth. If this story shocked you as much as it shocked us, spread the word to everyone who needs to know what's actually going on in Westminster right now. Subscribe and hit the notification bell, because tomorrow we'll be revealing the leaked documents that reveal exactly what Starmer's team was planning next. The next phase of this constitutional crisis will be released in 24 hours, and you won't want to miss it. It's far worse than you could imagine.